Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everyone? Living the dream.
That's good. The day after Halloween, it's supposed to be the nightmare, but
Did everybody have a lot of trick or treaters last night? A little bit. Zero. I was telling John at one point last night, we sat at the end of our driveway, and at one point last night, it looked like Night of the Walking Dead coming down our street. Well, we just thought we'd share a little bit about some of the things we've been doing and working on, and then wanted to open it up for kind of a listening post for the last, I don't know, say 10 minutes, and we can do some Q&A. Just hear some of your concerns. Let me think. We are prepared, but we don't have a whole lot to discuss. So I'm going to kind of make this up as we go along. That's okay. Commissioner McLaughlin is sorry he is not here. He is at a water conference today representing the commission. And that's one of the things that we're often working on are quality of place issues, and that would include water quality and that sort of thing. Which reminds me, we recently went to a sewage training thing. That was kind of interesting. We did some interesting stuff.
Which the county actually has a property that has an on-site training facility for the installer. So something I didn't know about is interesting.
We learned all about the different septic tanks and switches and overflow controls. And, you know, when you think about it, if you're not in one of the cities where you're on city water, you're on a well, water quality is all of a sudden a whole lot more important. Making sure that that stuff doesn't get in your drinking water. And so we really try to watch that for all of our citizens. That was an interesting day.
It was.
And
You were
then,
full of jokes that you couldn't say.
yeah, it's it was probably better than that. Let me think. Also recently I did one of the things that I do every year about this time, which is represent the county with the Chamber of Commerce and their community leadership visit. And this year we went to Northwest Arkansas, which was very important and very interesting. Important because it was in the region. It wasn't somewhere else across the country. I've been to Louisville with them, and then last year, well, one year we did not do it, the first year of the pandemic. But last year we visited Springfield, and we learned all about different parts of Springfield and the region. We were in Ozark as well, that we did not know about. Some things were updates, but it was really interesting to see another major area in our Ozarks region and how they had accomplished the things they were doing and what their needs were, and yet how we could work together. And there was a real willingness to look at that. I took part of the time and met with the my counterpart in Benton County. They're in Bentonville. They don't have commissioners. They have justices of the peace. So in a county which is a little smaller than ours, there are 15 justices of the peace. So it kind of is like a county council. And then there is the county judge, which is kind of like the presiding commissioner. So we visited. They're actually working on building a jail. The county judge and the sheriff had been up here in February, taking a look at what we were working on, and they actually tried to pass a tax last year and it failed. It wasn't a sales tax, it was a property tax. But interestingly, half of the cost of the new jail was going to be paid for with a personal check from the Walton family, and the tax still didn't. So it matters what kind of tax you put before voters, because that was a countywide tax. And then you look at the community to the north of Bentonville, which is Bella Vista. It's a big retirement community. They did not want property tax to be how they were going to fund that jail. So they're going back to the voters this year, I think, with a sales tax. And their population is, and the jail population is roughly the same as our situation here. So that was really interesting.
It was a little bit larger jail, wasn't it?
Yes, it was gonna be about 1,400 bed
So pretty
capacity.
similar.
So, but their current population is about the same as what we're dealing with. So that was a great trip, and I enjoyed representing you all and learning as much as I could about the region.
And I know biking, I think, is one of the big draws down there. Is that right? Are there any other things that really pull people down there?
It's huge. And, I had never been to the Crystal Bridges Museum and all of that, but it's quite a place, I guess. They have a nice meal for us. The museum is free to go in and see all of that. It's on part of the Walton property.
Hmm.
So,
You kind of alluded to it, but I think the Waltons end up paying for a lot of the things they do down there. At least the Walton Foundation does. Is that right?
they did. And one of the things that's interesting down there, and we really this was a big takeaway for the regional visit. They have 4 major cities. They're not like us. They don't just have the one regional location and then the other communities or bedroom communities here. They've got Rogers, Bentonville, Fayetteville, there's one more I can't think of. Yes. And so those communities were all kind of competing against each other. And basically the Waltons and the Tysons and a couple other prominent families got together and formed this cooperative where they, it was kind of like a super chamber, if you will. And the goal was to help all of those municipalities think as one. And they had done that. And the place is booming. They've got about 7% growth. They are now hosting filmmakers and all these other people coming in. And they're on the map for these biking competitions from places that are international. So, and there really didn't seem to be much consternation with the growth. I kind of wondered about that. Are the locals going to be upset about that? It wasn't. We didn't sense it. No homeless problem. They probably all came up here, honestly, because we have kind of a network of helpers and a network of assistance that kind of, for better or for worse, has made our community a little bit more welcoming and attractive to those who need help. But it was the bike trails are a big deal. So how about you? What's been on your calendar lately?
Yeah, some of the small business visits, as you know, the county committed $8 million to small businesses with ARPA funding. So we've been trying to visit some of those small businesses that have received that help. You're not really sure, is the need really still out there? But excuse me. But what we're seeing is that the need really is out there with some businesses, not all businesses, but there are certainly some businesses that are still really feeling the impact from what happened several years ago now. And so feel really good that we've committed that $8 million towards those small businesses. I think we used up, Cindy, you might be able to tell us better, but at least the first round and a half, maybe the full 2 rounds of funding. So I have to kind of see where we're at once we're kind of have all the applications processed. But sitting down with some of those small businesses, I mean, these are typically people that are working 60 to 8 hours a week, leaving their families at home on the weekend, just trying to keep their business afloat. And sometimes it's pretty tough to do. Some of these started their business right in the middle of the pandemic, which made it even harder to get up and running. And so they're just trying to see if they can get off the ground. So we're right in the middle of the non-for-profit round right now, and after that, of interest to this room would be a round that would be community-wide, so potential funding opportunities for things going on right here in the county. So that will probably be live here in the next few weeks.
And just so that folks are aware here, we're not really talking about doing one county application. So that may look like several different applications from different areas. Where CARES, we kind of coordinated one application. A little bit harder to coordinate with this as far as all the needs and all of the requirements. So we thought we would do it that way.
Do you all think some of your departments and offices will have some need there? I'm not gonna look at you though.
How much? Do I mean, do I know what kind of money we're talking about?
It's gonna be several million. We're still trying to, zero in on that, but it'll be several million.
Let's see, what else? Oh, one thing, you probably been getting the same thing. I've had a bunch of people calling me who'd like to be judges. How many are aware that we have some vacancies on the courts, or will have some vacancies?
Today.
So the judicial commission is doing interviews. Let's see, I think it's tomorrow and Thursday.
I think they started through the third.
So I forget how many are, 13 or 14 that have applied.
For the circuit job.
And so then that commission will select 3 panelists, which will be sent to the governor for his appointment to the court. That process, and then it will kind of unfold again for the other ones. If one appointment creates a vacancy, it will unfold for that, so on and so forth. So, a lot of change there. We don't envy your position. I know you've got a lot on your plate. Questions about that?
My first thing, just kind of talk about some of the employment issues. I know all of our offices are having some issues finding the right people and even finding people. As you know, we did some somewhat creative things over the past year to try to help recruit and retain people. One would be the tuition reimbursement program, the employee referral program, where an employee can be compensated for referring a good hire. I guess first, how do you think those are working? And then after that, we'll roll on. Do anyone have any other ideas of things we might need to look at? So first, how do you think some of those programs are working? Any of your offices utilizing them?
We've had some success in the employee referral.
Okay.
Mainly because we have to have post-certified people as far as hiring bailiffs. However, they're just like the sheriff's department, they're very difficult that want to come in, but we have had some referrals from internal sources.
Any others that are using the referral? I think maybe you guys are using that. Samantha, don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think you guys pretty high.
Yeah, several successful ones.
I think a number of folks, or several folks at our office are using the tuition reimbursement. I don't know that that's bringing in new folks, but I think
Even some.
yeah, employees, yeah.
That's our hope.
I think it's just such a multifaceted problem. Compensation. I've never seen somebody slightly dissatisfied. I'm sure that was slightly dissatisfied. So, I don't.
Right now, they're plenty to find.
Exactly, yeah. Sometimes that bad boss just has. So.
At some point, it's you.
Yeah, you might think so, right? But I know we certainly appreciate all the efforts from the county to try to think outside the box. But I'm just thinking of positions we've had. We're down. But those positions are always just simple. It's not.
Yeah, that's very consistent. What I've heard Dan and some others that need a permanent position.
We had the survey that's still kind of going on the child care. What have you heard out there about that? Maybe you filled it out, or maybe you know someone that filled it out.
Our staff who has a lot of young children, they're hoping that they're fantasizing about county-run daycare and things like that. But I know that people, we have a lot of younger employees.
We actually had conversations about that in the commission a couple of years ago. I forget how long ago the original discussion was, but it was pre-2008. The city utilities and the county had discussed the possibility of doing something jointly, and then after 2008, that fell apart. We discussed the possible reviving of that initiative, and this seems like, a perfectly opportune time And this is one of our major hindrances to recruitment, is childcare. And it's not just here, it's everywhere.
We don't have a need, but I work with some. And second, they're expecting, they're looking for a place. Very pricey. There are some that are not good. And it's very disheartening that you get your child in there and it's not a good opportunity, then what do you do? And you hear of big corporations, Google, Amazon, whoever, that have this in place. It's a better employee retention, like you said, they can go spend for my child. You know, it's huge. So, and then you have opportunities to employ people who are starting this. And I think it's definitely great.
Thanks for that. Anybody else on that?
Just the other day with an employee who is gonna move to Lawrence County because that's where her mother is for childcare and she's gonna try and drive. I'm like, that's, a lot. So she's like, probably gonna have to get a job. And that's too bad, but that's why she's moving. It's just for her child. Because the expense of it's just too much. Yeah, I think if you have more than one, you just hard to reach out.
We've heard, the cost factors and what it is, and it's, you get a couple of kids in childcare and that's almost a mortgage. When you look at it that way, it's. What other issues are bubbling to the surface? What else can we talk about? We can keep talking about our calendar, but I thought I'd just open it up.
Any other hindrances when you're looking to hire people? Bill, you kind of hit on it. Part of it could be pay, but are there other things that we need to be looking at to think outside the box? Any other things you're running across that really kind of making it difficult to recruit people?
Like I said, I think we. So something. Telling people that, you're gonna get a really good salary and it's off. And it's not just us, it's private employers, it's nobody can find it. It's like Rapture or something. And lost the employee, let people just not working anymore. I don't know what happened.
You can revise the policy, maybe not for older generations, but for younger generations. I know that, like I was talking to Jess in IS, and he says that if they didn't have that part of that in their policy, they wouldn't hire anybody. So not every position would be able to work. Oh, you're a deputy or something like that. But if you have primarily a desk job, and it could be something feasible, maybe consider that as a policy going forward, that you can, your manager approves it, or you can do something days a week. But it seems like a lot of companies are doing that.
What do you think makes that attractive? Is it full-time work at home, a day or two work at home?
Right. We went to the, what's that, digital ad agency, he basically said,
Mostly here.
he basically just gave it up to the employee. Some of them don't even live here and work. But some do have, some get sick and they come in the rest of the time. So, I don't know, I know for people my age and younger, it seems like that's really the next big trend. I even see people on Facebook all the time, like, got a job in Denver, but I'm gonna live here. So, and some of those, like, all those jobs are computer related, but that's not gonna help everyone, but it would help some.
Well, that's what, so to compliment, so most of the people working with most series who's worked for me, really good folks that are there that have flexible to the computer side. We also see the opposite of that, just with the see great migration. A lot of companies it's awesome. But it is hard to find that perfect balance for what jobs can be done. A lot of our jobs can be statutory. In the office, the taxpayer government say facing. Trying to find that perfect balance. Being cohesion. I think it's probably going to be probably the next 2-3 years. There should be a stabilization between brick and mortar. I think it's going to the new generation.
but also build on that. The benefits as far as they don't care so much about retirement. If they care about which is excited, but it's still.
We lost a really good social worker a couple months ago because she worked for 3 days a week as opposed to driving almost an hour and a half each way.
I'm seeing a lot of that where they're, like you were saying, Robert, they're getting a job somewhere else in higher paying market, but moving here.
Something worth looking at, Robert, that it definitely there need to be a balance, and obviously it wouldn't work for the officer department. One thing, and I may not be pitching this exactly the way he stated, but he said something along the lines of those that are in the office, at least some, he keeps them much longer and retains them longer. So there's certainly a balance to be had there. Not only people are remote.
I would even like 4-day work weeks, and there's enough in the office that you could have someone there 5 days a week, but divide the shift.
2 4-10s. Something like that. Yes.
We had maybe 4 or 5 recent interviews for some of our open positions. And it seemed like after the interview took place, I kind of fell into the role of tour guide. So I took him from the 3rd floor, kind of walked him down the steps and showed him around, and then I took him down to our office. And then I would always kind of walk him to the curb, and I would say, "Where did you park?" Because they would come down, we'd go down the steps, you get turned around, you can't remember which way to park. 9 out of 10 of them, or almost all of them, were parking, you know, right over there in this beautiful manicured parking lot that's paved and striped. And when I break your heart, tell them that's the city lot. That's, yeah, you can always kind of see the dividing line. This is the Mason-Dixon line, because over here, our grounds aren't as beautiful as they should be, as I wish they were, but our parking lot is just an embarrassment. When the rain came through about a month and a half ago, that grade got filled with gravel. We park our accessory vehicles down in the corner. There's ruts, there's runoff. I know that it's part of the plan to do some work on that parking lot. What is the timetable and what could we expect? Because when we have to say, no, you gotta park over there versus those beautiful grounds over there, and that and other variables of the downtown lifestyle, it sometimes makes it a difficult sell.
Well, I have some bad news and some good news. The bad news is it's going to be embarrassing for a little while longer. But the good news is it's going to get done. The plan is about was it about a 3-year total plan? That we just began with the planning. It's one of the earlier things on the plan. But we were over there
About 2 weeks ago.
about 2 weeks ago looking at what needed to be moved as far as utilities. There's a building that has got to be removed potentially. There's some other factors with kind of under the parking lot. So we're already on it, but it's going to take some time to get through all of that. The planning portion, when we presented the campus plan, that was kind of the concept. Then we went into having architects actually put plans together for building next door, all of these other things. So it's gonna look probably as nice or better than theirs.
Well, I know that when we want to do seeker, we have the capability, because they tore that temporary jail down, took all that gravel and dirt and brought that level down in like a week.
Well, we were paying lease on those buildings.
That's correct. Yeah, and it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, and some of the
It's good
issues
to know
are,
things.
yeah, and some of the issues are not just issues that the county can push a button and fix. Bob alluded to utilities. Obviously, there's a lot of people we've got to deal with on that. And I know there's, I think, a city easement that runs underneath that and some storm sewer. So lots of issues that are going on there and in process. And it won't be the 3 years for that. I mean, as he mentioned, it's going to be closer to the front end of it. We know it's a priority for everyone in this room.
And, you know, we've had of course, now we're in the budget cycle and working through all of that. We're trying to continue to plan not only budget years, but also with this planning, making things come out correct financially. And with that, we're also managing surprises. We've, I think it's already been talked about in here. Rusty talked about it a couple weeks ago, but we've had the issues in juvenile and we jumped on that. It's still part of the plan, but we kind of moved that forward. So we juggle quite a bit, and we know that you all do too. And trying to do the absolute best we can and stretch every dollar as far as we can. But I'm very anxious for that to get done because we can, you know, we can stripe the gravel, but it's worthless.
I know you guys have been there for a week or two now. How are things going?
We're full.
We saw that.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna need to ready for kids. I think by and large it's going okay, and Julie will probably.
Yeah, so we prepared 12 of 22 rooms for the emergency move-in. They are adjusting. It is a very different environment for the kids and the staff. And so they are adjusting. It's going well, but there's still, you know, it was an emergency move. So figuring things out. Going well. Appreciative for the support. We needed to do it. We got it done.
And I think the other, at least some of the other rooms can be pretty quickly ready. There's some carpet issues.
Yeah, I think there would be people who. It's pretty
At least a little quicker than what the first.
Add to that, there has been some success because we recently had some of the ones that had some more serious charges filed, and we were able to move Judge Hosmer over to our building, so we could keep the juveniles detained in a secure area and moving them through, so we do not have to take them out of the facility to move them over to the separate juvenile facility. So there are things like that, I think, that are actually benefits that have happened since.
Yeah, and I would just say, as far as issues to kind of be thinking about is, of course, increase in gang activity and gun crimes and things like that in the juvenile. That causes a lot of concerns. Other than it's an issue, as a community, we're trying to figure out what to do.
I think every kid but one. Home invasion, 12, 13.
It's very serious. We appreciate everything that you all are doing to deal with that on your end and law enforcement on their end, so.
Does the staff feel, I'm sorry,
No,
does the staff feel safer in the video setup?
They do. They know that they can't. They can't kick their way out of it. They feel much better.
got a minute for another one? Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you had a question.
To piggyback on what about safety of our teachers as a bonus. So we see the shiny across the street of this road and the safety of them walking into our buildings safely without ditch of snow. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think that some snow removal equipment was purchased, but I would have to, I don't think.
I think 2 of them shown up. I've seen them out the warehouse.
Okay.
They received
Okay, perfect. So hopefully it will be better than it has been because some equipment was purchased. And I think that will be located in the Wrights building. So it'll be accessible and ready to use.
That was our hope when we did that last year. Of course, with any kind of purchase right now, it's taking forever to get stuff. Yeah. Well, thank you all very much. It's great to hear the feedback. And what are we having next week? You know, offhand?
It is the CHIPS program from Road and Bridge.
Oh, okay, great. Good, that'll be a good program.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day. If we can ever be helpful. let us
Have a good
know.
day.